Princess Mira stood at the viewport of the royal shuttle, her silver skin catching the reflection of Earth's blue atmosphere as they descended. She adjusted her ceremonial robes with a flick of her six-fingered hand and sighed. What a waste of time. We're beginning final approach to the human capital, Your Highness, the pilot called back. Mira barely acknowledged him. At 17 cycles old, she had visited 12 worlds with her father, Emperor Quan. But this was her first solo diplomatic mission. And what a disappointment it was to be sent to this backward planet. Earth had only achieved space travel a mere century ago, while the Talon Empire had been traveling between stars for millennia. "Remember your training, Princess," said Gion, her chief advisor. "The humans may seem primitive, but your father believes they could be valuable allies, or at least obedient subjects." Mira snorted. "Look at them. They still use combustion engines for some of their vehicles. Their tallest buildings would be considered modest on our homeworld. What could they possibly offer us?" The shuttle touched down on the massive landing pad where a human delegation waited. Through the view screen, Mira could see them standing in neat rows, wearing colorful ceremonial uniforms. Some sort of honor guard, she supposed. "They're so small," she whispered to Gion as they prepared to disembark. "And fragile-looking." The doors opened and Earth sunlight hit Mira's face. She blinked her large dark eyes as she descended the ramp, her 4 royal guards following close behind. A human stepped forward, a male with graying hair and a chest full of medals. "Princess Mira of the Talon Empire, welcome to Earth. I am Admiral Park, appointed by the United Nations to serve as your liaison during your stay." Mira extended her hand in the human gesture she had been taught. The Admiral's hand felt warm and soft compared to her own. "Admiral Park, I bring greetings from my father, Emperor Quan. He sends his regrets that he could not come himself to evaluate your world." The Admiral's eyes narrowed slightly at her choice of words, but his smile remained in place. "We're honored to have you, Princess. If you'll follow me, we've prepared a welcome ceremony." The humans had arranged a military parade for her arrival. Mira watched with barely concealed amusement as their aircraft flew overhead in formation. The machines were so loud and inefficient compared to Talon vessels. Ground vehicles rolled, past tracked and wheeled contraptions that belched smoke and roared. "Impressive for your level of development," she said to Admiral Park, not bothering to hide the condescension in her voice. "We do what we can with what we have," the Admiral replied evenly. Something in his tone made Mira glance at him. His face revealed nothing, but she had the strange feeling he was laughing at her. Later, at the United Nations headquarters, Mira sat through tedious introductions to countless human officials. Her translator implant worked perfectly, converting their various languages to her own. Most of them seemed nervous or overly deferential. She found it tiresome. During the formal reception, Mira decided to remind these humans of their place in the galactic order. She tapped her glass for attention and addressed the room. "People of Earth, I thank you for your welcome. The Talon Empire has watched your world's development with interest. Your achievements are notable for a species so young. My father believes you might benefit from our protection and guidance. The galaxy can be a dangerous place for developing worlds." A murmur ran through the crowd. Several officials exchanged concerned glances. Mira smiled, satisfied at their discomfort. It was important they understand the power imbalance between their civilizations. Only Admiral Park seemed unmoved by her implied threat. He approached her after her speech, a glass of water in his hand. "An interesting perspective, Princess Mira, though I've always found that appearances can be deceiving." "Oh? In what way, Admiral?" He gestured to a painting on the wall, a depiction of an ancient human battle. "Throughout our history, many have underestimated us to their eventual regret. We may seem young and weak to your eyes, but humans have a particular talent for survival." Mira laughed. "A charming sentiment, Admiral, but sentiment doesn't stop plasma cannons or deflect energy shields." "No," Park agreed with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "But neither do assumptions lead to victory." That night, in her luxurious accommodations, Mira reviewed the day's events with Gion. "Their military technology is primitive, she reported to her advisor. Projectile weapons, basic aircraft, rudimentary space capabilities. Nothing that could challenge even our smallest warships. Gian nodded. The intelligence reports suggested as much, though we've detected some unusual energy readings that don't match their known technology levels. Probably just interference from their crude power systems, Mira dismissed. Tomorrow they're taking me to one of their military bases for a demonstration. I expect it will be equally unimpressive. She turned to look out the window at the city. Lights below. So many humans going about their little lives, unaware that their fate was being decided. The Talon Empire could protect them or crush them with equal ease. As she drifted off to sleep, Mira couldn't shake the memory of Admiral Park's steady gaze and his words about assumptions. There was something about the old human that unsettled her, though she couldn't quite put her finger on what it was. She would learn soon enough. The morning sun glinted off the convoy of black vehicles as Princess Mira watched from her window. Today was the military demonstration, and she was already bored at the thought of it. What could these humans possibly show her that would impress someone from the Talon Empire? Your Highness, it's time to depart, Gian said, entering her suite, with a small bow. The human delegation is waiting. Mira straightened her ceremonial collar. Did our intelligence officers submit their report on those energy readings? Yes, Princess. They detected several unusual signatures around the planet. Last night, nothing that matches known human technology. She waved her hand dismissively. Probably just their primitive nuclear reactors or some weather phenomenon. Don't waste resources investigating it further. The journey to the military base took nearly an hour. Mira spent it watching the landscape through tinted windows, noting how much of Earth remained undeveloped. Forests and open fields stretched for miles. Wasted space that could have housed millions on her densely populated homeworld. Admiral Park sat across from her in the vehicle, his posture relaxed, but his eyes alert. He'd been watching her all morning. I hope today's demonstration meets your expectations, Princess, he said. I'm sure it will be educational, she replied with a thin smile. The base sprawled across a vast plain surrounded by high fences and watchtowers. Soldiers in uniform stood at attention as her convoy passed through the gates. Everything was so primitive. They even had human guards instead of automated defense systems. This is one of our primary training facilities, Admiral Park explained, as they exited the vehicles. Nothing classified today, just a demonstration of our standard capabilities. Mira nodded, already losing interest. Standard human capabilities were hardly worth her attention. They were led to a covered viewing platform overlooking a large field. Other military officials and government representatives were already seated. Mira took her place in the center, with Gian and her guards standing behind her. We'll begin with some basic infantry maneuvers, a human officer announced. For the next hour, Mira watched as human soldiers demonstrated various tactics, weapons, and vehicles. They fired projectile weapons that seemed barely more advanced than the ones her people had abandoned thousands of years ago. Their armored vehicles crawled across the terrain, kicking up dust. Impressive acceleration on your tanks, she said to Admiral Park, trying to find something positive to say out of diplomatic courtesy. They served their purpose, he replied simply. Next came an air show. Fighter jets screamed overhead, performing complex maneuvers that Mira had to admit showed skill if not technological superiority. The pilots pulled turns that would have crushed an untrained body under the gravitational forces. Your pilots have good training, she conceded. They're the best Earth has to offer, Admiral Park said, a hint of pride in his voice. After a demonstration of naval power via video feed, the show concluded with a missile launch, a short-range, conventional weapon that exploded on a target several miles away. And that concludes our demonstration, the announcer said. We hope this gives you some insight into Earth's defensive capabilities. As they walked back to the vehicles, Mira couldn't help feeling disappointed. Nothing she'd seen today would even scratch the hull of a Talon warship. Well, Admiral, I appreciate the hospitality, but I must say I expected more from Earth's military might. Admiral Park paused, studying her face. May I speak frankly, Princess? Of course. What you saw today is what we wanted you to see. The statement hung in the air between them. Mira frowned, trying to decipher his meaning. I don't understand. No nation shows all its cards at once, Your Highness, especially not to potential protectors. He emphasized the last word carefully. Before she could respond, one of her guards approached urgently. Princess, we need to return to our quarters immediately. There's been an incident. Back at her accommodations, Mira found her security chief, Dahl, waiting with a troubled expression. What's happened? She demanded. The probes we positioned to monitor Earth's dark side have gone silent, Dahl reported. All three of them simultaneously. Mira frowned. Equipment failure? Impossible. They were our newest stealth models, completely undetectable by Earth's technology. They shouldn't even know the probes exist, let alone be able to disable them. Could it be natural interference? Solar flares? Jian shook his head. We checked. Solar activity is minimal, and the probes are hardened against radiation anyway. Mira paced the room, her mind racing. When exactly did this happen? During the military demonstration, Dahl said quietly. Approximately when those fighter jets were performing overhead. A chill ran down Mira's spine as she remembered Admiral Park's words. What you saw today is what we wanted you to see, shall I? Me the last transmission from the probes, she ordered. Dahl projected a holographic display. The final data packet showed nothing unusual until the very end, just a brief energy spike unlike anything in their records, and then nothing. What could cause this? She asked. Unknown, Princess. The energy signature doesn't match any weapon system we know of. It's not plasma-based, not laser, not nuclear. Mira stared out the window at the setting sun, her thoughts troubled. She'd been so confident in Talon's superiority, so dismissive of Earth's capabilities. But now, her communication device chimed. A message from Admiral Park. Did you enjoy today's demonstration, Princess? I hope it was informative. Perhaps tomorrow we could discuss the true nature of our relationship going forward. Mira closed the message, a strange feeling settling in her stomach. For the first time since arriving on Earth, she felt something she hadn't expected. Uncertainty. She turned to her advisors. Tell the fleet behind the moon to maintain absolute stealth and double our surveillance on Earth's military installations. There's something these humans aren't telling us. As night fell over the city, Mira couldn't shake the feeling that she had severely underestimated these seemingly primitive people. And in the game of galactic politics, underestimation was often the first step toward disaster. Princess Mira couldn't sleep. The disappearance of the stealth probes troubled her more than she wanted to admit. She stood by the window of her quarters, watching Earth's moon hanging in the night sky. Somewhere behind that silver disk, a small Talon battle group waited, hidden from human detection. Or so she had believed. Your Highness? Jian's voice came from the doorway. You should rest. Tomorrow's negotiations will require your full attention. How can I rest when nothing makes sense? Mira snapped. These humans are hiding something. Their technology appears primitive, yet our probes vanish without explanation. Perhaps we should request additional information from Homeworld, Jian suggested carefully. Mira shook her head. And admit to my father that I'm confused by these primitives? No. She straightened her shoulders. We need to establish dominance. Show them the consequences of deception. What do you propose, Princess? Mira's eyes narrowed. A small demonstration of our own. Contact Commander Lim on the cruiser Starfire. An hour later, Commander Lim's holographic image flickered before her. Your Highness, we await your orders. Move 3 ships into position above Earth's northern hemisphere. Target their satellite network. Communications only. Nothing vital to their planetary systems. Disable, don't destroy. I want them to understand our capabilities without causing casualties. Lim bowed. As you command, Princess. We'll begin the operation at 300 hours Earth time. Maintain stealth approach. They shouldn't detect you until you've already disabled their satellites. After the communication ended, Jian approached her cautiously. Princess, this action could be seen as hostile. The diplomatic implications, are my responsibility, Mira cut him off. My father sent me to evaluate Earth's suitability as a protectorate. If they're hiding military capabilities, we need to know before we proceed with any agreement. Jian bowed and withdrew, his expression troubled. Mira returned to the window, watching the stars. By morning, the humans would understand the true balance of power between their species. Sleep came fitfully. Mira dreamed of Admiral Park's steady gaze, of hidden weapons, of darkness swallowing Talon ships whole. She was awakened by Dahl bursting into her quarters, face ashen. "Princess, we've lost contact with the Starfire and the Windclaw." Mira sat up immediately. "What? How?" "Unknown, Your Highness." They approached Earth's orbit as planned, still under stealth. Then, nothing. The Thunderbolt reported seeing them suddenly disabled, all systems dark. No weapons fire, no explosion. And the Thunderbolt? Retreated to lunar orbit. Commander Vell is awaiting instructions. Mira's mind raced. This couldn't be happening. Human technology should be incapable of detecting Talon stealth systems, let alone neutralizing 2 battle cruisers instantly. Her personal communicator chimed with an incoming message. Admiral Park's name flashed on the screen. "Good morning, Princess Mira. I wonder if we might meet earlier than scheduled today. A matter has arisen that requires immediate discussion. A car will arrive for you in 20 minutes. Mira stared at the message in disbelief. They knew. Somehow they already knew. She dressed quickly, choosing her formal diplomatic armor, a statement of strength, even if she was beginning to doubt that strength. When she emerged from her quarters, she found not just Gian and her guards waiting, but a human security detail as well. "The Admiral requested an escort for you, Princess," their leader explained politely. "For your safety." The ride to the United Nations building was silent and tense. Mira tried to maintain her royal composure, but inside, her thoughts were chaotic. Had she catastrophically misjudged these humans? What kind of technology could neutralize Talon warships without firing a shot? Admiral Park was waiting in a small conference room, along with several high-ranking military and government officials. His expression was calm, almost sympathetic. "Princess Mira, thank you for coming on such short notice." "What have you done to my ships?" she demanded, dispensing with diplomatic niceties. Admiral Park gestured for her to sit. "Let's be direct with each other. Your vessels attempted to enter a position from which they could disable our satellite network. They were intercepted by our automated defense system. Impossible. Our stealth technology is impressive," Park finished for her, "but not infallible. We've been tracking your hidden fleet since before your shuttle entered our atmosphere." Mira felt as if the floor had dropped away beneath her. "If what you say is true, why allow me to land at all? Why the charade of the military demonstration?" A woman in a dark suit spoke up. "We hoped for genuine diplomatic exchange, Princess, despite your evaluation mission." Admiral Park nodded. "Your crews are unharmed. Their life support systems were deliberately left functional while all offensive capabilities were neutralized." "How?" Mira couldn't stop herself from asking. What weapon could do this? "Not a weapon as you understand them," Park said, "and that's all I'm at liberty to say at this point." Mira's communicator chirped urgently. She checked it, her heart sinking at the message from Commander Vell. "The Thunderbolt has also been neutralized. No casualties. Awaiting orders." She looked up to find Admiral Park watching her reaction. "Your remaining ship has been secured, as well," he confirmed. "I should mention that no human operators were even involved in the response. It was purely automated, our defense system's lowest level of intervention." The implication hit Mira like a physical blow. If this was their automated response, what were they capable of when actively defending themselves? "I need to speak with my father," she said, fighting to keep her voice steady. "Of course," the Admiral agreed. "We've prepared secure communications for you and Princess. You might want to inform Emperor Quan that we're detecting unusual energy signatures near your homeworld's outer moon. Our long-range sensors suggest more of your fleet has gathered there." Mira stared at him in shock. Earth had sensors that could reach Talon space? That was dozens of light years away. "This meeting is over," she said, standing abruptly. "I must consult with my advisors." As she turned to leave, Admiral Park called after her. "Princess, we still hope for peaceful relations between our worlds. This incident doesn't have to define our future together." Mira paused at the doorway but didn't turn around. "You've been monitoring us all along, haven't you? The military parade, the demonstrations, it was all for show." "Sometimes," Park said, quietly. "The greatest strength lies in what remains unseen." She left without another word, her mind reeling with implications. In a few short days, everything she believed about Earth, about her mission, about her empire's place in the galaxy, had been called into question. And somewhere far above, 2 Talon warships drifted powerless in Earth orbit, silent monuments to her misjudgment. 3 days after the failed incursion, Emperor Quan's personal flagship entered Earth's solar system. The massive vessel, 10 times larger than any human ship Mira had seen, approached with weapons powered down, a concession that made the princess's stomach twist with embarrassment. Her father had never approached any world with defenses lowered. News of the Emperor's arrival spread quickly through human media. Mira watched their broadcasts from her quarters, surprised by the calm reporting. These humans should be terrified by the arrival of the Talon Empire's supreme leader, yet they discussed it as if it were a routine diplomatic visit. "Princess," Jian said, entering her room after a gentle knock, "your father's shuttle will land in 1 hour. He requests your presence at the landing pad." Mira noted Jian's careful choice of words. Her father never requested anything. He commanded. This subtle change told her everything about his mood. "How bad is it?" she asked quietly. Jian's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of deep discomfort. "The Emperor is displeased. The disabled ships have been retrieved by our towing vessels, but they remain non-functional. Our engineers cannot determine how the humans neutralized them." Mira nodded, straightening her formal regalia. "Then, we will find out together." At the landing pad, a human honor guard stood in perfect formation alongside Talon officials. Admiral Park waited beside Mira, his weathered face unreadable. "Your father is an important man," Park said conversationally. "The first emperor to personally visit Earth." "He isn't coming for tourism, Admiral," Mira replied coldly. Park's lips twitched in what might have been a smile. "No, I don't imagine." "He is." The Emperor's shuttle descended from the clouds, its polished hull gleaming in the sunlight. Unlike Mira's diplomatic vessel, this was a military craft, bristling with weapon ports, all conspicuously closed. Emperor Quan emerged surrounded by elite guards. He was taller than Mira by a full head, his silver skin bearing the traditional scarification of Talon royalty. His ceremonial armor, embedded with the crystals of 100 conquered worlds, caught the light as he descended the ramp. Protocol demanded that Mira kneel before her father. She did so, head bowed, waiting for his acknowledgement. Instead of the traditional greeting, Emperor Quan spoke in a voice cold enough to freeze blood. "Rise, daughter. Your failure dishonors us both." Mira stood, keeping her eyes lowered. "Father, there is more to these humans than our intelligence suggested." "So I have discovered," he rumbled, finally turning to Admiral Park. "You are the human commander?" Park bowed slightly. "Admiral Park, at your service, Emperor Quan. Earth welcomes you." "Does it?" The Emperor's voice dripped with sarcasm. "Earth disabled 2 of my warships and somehow detected a fleet amassing near my homeworld. I would not call that a welcome." "Self-defense is not hostility, Emperor," Park replied calmly. "Just as evaluating a world for conquest is not diplomacy." The Emperor's eyes narrowed at the human's directness. "I demand explanations and reparations." "We're prepared to offer the former," Park said. "As for reparations, that seems unnecessary, since no lives were lost and your ships have been returned. Perhaps we could discuss this somewhere more private." 2 hours later, Mira found herself following her father and Admiral Park into an elevator that plunged deep beneath the ocean. They had flown to a platform in the middle of the Pacific, where a nondescript building housed the entrance to whatever facility they were now descending toward. "How far down are we going?" Emperor Quan demanded as the numbers on the display continued to tick upward. "Another few moments, Emperor," Park replied. "This facility was built at the bottom of the Mariana Trench, the deepest part of our oceans." Mira did the calculations in her head. "That's over 10 kilometers below the surface. The pressure would be crushing," Park finished. "Yes, which is why we found it an ideal location for certain projects. The natural barrier provides additional security." The elevator finally stopped, opening onto a vast chamber filled with technology unlike anything Mira had seen before. Human scientists and military personnel moved purposefully among workstations and holographic displays. In the center of the room stood a spherical structure pulsing with soft blue light. "Welcome to Deep Horizon," Admiral Park said, "one of Earth's primary defense research facilities." Emperor Quan stepped forward, his expression a mixture of suspicion and reluctant curiosity. "What is this place?" "The source of your recent surprise," Park explained, leading them toward the glowing sphere. "This is Gaia, Global Automated Intelligence Array, the system that detected and neutralized your ships." Mira stared at the sphere in disbelief. "That's an artificial intelligence? More accurately, it's a quantum consciousness," a female scientist explained, joining their group. "Gaia evolved beyond traditional AI limitations decades ago." "Impossible," Emperor Quan scoffed. "Your world has only had rudimentary computing. For less than a century, the technological leap is too great." Admiral Park's expression remained neutral. "We had help." "From whom?" Mira asked. Instead of answering, Park led them to another section of the facility. Here, a massive view screen showed a star map unlike any in Talon records. Dozens of worlds were highlighted, many in regions the Talon Empire had never explored. "These are current human settlements," Park explained. "Colonies, research stations, mining operations." Emperor Quan stared at the display, his composure slipping. "This is deception. Your species has barely established a presence on your own moon." "That's what we wanted the galaxy to believe," Park said simply. "We learned early in our development that appearing weak while being strong was the safest path forward." Mira stepped closer to the display. "These colonies, how did you establish them without being detected by any spacefaring civilization?" The scientist touched a control, and the display changed to show a ship design Mira didn't recognize. "Quantum displacement drives. They don't move through space conventionally. They shift between dimensional states, arriving at their destination without traversing the space between." "The technology that disabled your vessels," Park added, "works on similar principles. We don't fire weapons in the traditional sense. We simply adjust the quantum state of targeted systems." Emperor Quan's fists clenched. "If what you claim is true, why reveal it now? Why not continue your deception?" Admiral Park's expression softened slightly. "Because we believe it's time for honest dialogue. Your empire has reached our borders. Continued misunderstanding could lead to unnecessary conflict." He gestured to another display, showing surveillance images of Talon fleet movements. "We've been watching your expansion for over 50 years. We know your patterns of conquest, your methods of subjugation. We chose to reveal our true capabilities now, to you specifically, because we believe you might understand what others in your empire would not." "And what is that?" the Emperor demanded. "That Earth is not a prize to be won or a protectorate to be claimed. We are offering something far more valuable, an alliance between equals." Mira watched her father's face as he processed this information. Emperor Quan had conquered 37 worlds during his reign, but he had never faced a civilization that could neutralize Talon technology with such ease. "Show me your weapon systems," Quan finally said. "I want to see what disabled my ships." Park shook his head. "With respect, Emperor, that's not possible today, but we can demonstrate something equally convincing." He nodded to the scientist, who entered a command. The massive view screen changed again, now showing real-time images of the Talon homeworld. views that could only have been captured by satellites in orbit around their planet. "We've had observation posts in your system for 20 years, Park said quietly, "just as we have around every major spacefaring civilization within 1,000 light-years of Earth." Emperor Quan stared at the live images of his palace, his fleet, yards, his people going about their daily lives, all being monitored by a species he had dismissed as primitive. Mira felt a chill run down her spine as the true scale of human capability began to dawn on her. Their apparent technological backwardness was the greatest deception in galactic history, and she had fallen for it completely. The 3 weeks following the revelation at Deep Horizon transformed Princess Mira in ways she couldn't have imagined. While Emperor Quan returned to the Talon homeworld to convene with his advisors, he had ordered his daughter to remain on Earth, officially as an ambassador, unofficially to learn everything she could about humanity's true capabilities. Today, Mira stood on the observation deck of Earth's orbital station, watching shuttles ferry supplies to a massive ship under construction. Unlike the clunky, primitive vessels she'd seen during her first days on Earth, this craft featured the sleek, advanced design she now knew represented actual human technology. "Impressive, isn't it?" Admiral Park's voice came from behind her. Mira nodded without turning. "The Pathfinder, your newest Explorer-class vessel. You've been studying our fleet registry," Park noted, coming to stand beside her at the viewport. "Knowledge is survival," Mira replied. "Something my people forgot long ago." The Admiral smiled slightly. "Not forgot, just took for granted." In the weeks since her father's departure, Mira had been granted unprecedented access to human history and military archives. What she discovered had humbled her more than any defeat in battle could have. "Your species nearly destroyed itself," she said quietly. "Multiple times." Park nodded. "World wars, nuclear standoffs, climate collapse. We came close to extinction through our own actions. Yet you survived. Barely. Each crisis taught us hard lessons." The Admiral gazed out at the stars. "When we finally achieved reliable space travel and encountered other civilizations, we discovered many were like the Talon Empire, expansionist, hierarchical, viewing other species as either threats or resources." Mira winced at the accuracy of his assessment. "Rather than announce ourselves as a new player in galactic politics," Park continued, "we made a different choice. We presented a carefully crafted image of a young, struggling species while secretly building our true civilization elsewhere. A deception that worked for centuries," Mira acknowledged. "No one suspected." "Appearing weak when you are strong is the greatest advantage in any conflict," Park said. "An old human strategy from our history." The shuttle back to Earth was quiet. Both Mira and the Admiral lost in their thoughts. They had developed an unexpected rapport over the past weeks, mentor and student in some ways, though Mira knew the Admiral still kept many secrets. Their destination was a military history museum, one Mira had specifically requested to visit. Unlike the carefully staged demonstrations of her early days, this represented the true face of human warfare, its evolution, its brutality, and its innovations. As they walked through exhibits chronicling everything from ancient battles to space-based conflicts with other species Mira had never heard of, she found herself increasingly disturbed. "Your history is dominated by conflict," she observed, pausing before a display of early nuclear weapons. "You turned your aggressive tendencies inward for millennia." Park nodded solemnly. "Humans fought humans over resources, beliefs, power, anything and everything. It's our greatest shame and our greatest teacher." "How did you change?" "Necessity," he said simply. "After our third global war, with our planet on the brink of becoming uninhabitable, we finally understood that our survival depended on cooperation." They moved to an exhibit showing Earth's first encounters with alien civilizations, confrontations that occurred decades before the official first contact that history recorded. "When we realized we weren't alone in the universe," Park continued, We also discovered that many older civilizations followed patterns similar to our own violent past. Species that reached the stars often brought their conquering instincts with them. Like the Talon Empire, Mira said softly. Yes. So we made a strategic decision. Earth would present itself as a developing world with modest technology, while actually building an advanced civilization in secret. We would appear vulnerable while becoming unassailable. Later that evening, Mira sat in her quarters reviewing what she had learned. A display showed the true extent of human colonization, hundreds of worlds, most unknown to the major galactic powers. Their quantum technology had allowed them to establish this hidden empire without leaving the telltale signs of conventional space travel. Her door chimed, announcing Admiral Park's arrival for their final meeting. Tomorrow she would return to the Talon homeworld to report to her father. Have you decided what you'll tell Emperor Quan? Park asked, accepting the seat she offered. Mira poured 2 glasses of water, a human custom she'd adopted. The truth. Earth is not a candidate for protectorate status. Any attempt to force the issue would be unwise. Park nodded. And the rest? I will recommend an alliance. Equal terms, mutual respect. She met his gaze directly. It won't be an easy sell. The Empire has never considered any species its equal. Change rarely comes easily, Park acknowledged. But it does come, especially when the alternative is worse. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment before the Admiral reached into his pocket and withdrew a small object wrapped in cloth. A parting gift, he said, placing it on the table between them. Mira unwrapped it carefully, revealing an ancient book bound in leather. The cover read, The Art of War by Sun Tzu, one of our oldest texts on military strategy, Park explained. Written over 2,500 years ago, yet still studied by our commanders today. Mira opened it gently, scanning the faded text. Supreme excellence consists in breaking the enemy's resistance without fighting, she read aloud. A principle your people might appreciate, Park suggested. Power isn't always about showing strength. My father may not be convinced. Then help him see what you've seen. Park's expression was serious now. Princess Mira, we've shown you our true capabilities not as a threat, but as a foundation for understanding. Earth doesn't want war with the Talon Empire. We've had enough conflict in our history. Yet you prepared for it anyway, she observed. Yes. Another human saying, hope for peace, prepare for war. He stood, indicating their meeting was drawing to a close. Your father is a conqueror, but from what I've observed, you could be something, or a builder of bridges between civilizations. The next morning, as Mira's shuttle prepared for departure, Admiral Park came to see her off. The farewell was brief, formal in the presence of others, but meaningful nonetheless. Safe journey, Princess, he said, offering the traditional human handshake. I hope we'll meet again under favorable circumstances. We will, she replied with newfound confidence. The galaxy is changing, Admiral Park. Perhaps it's time the Talon Empire changed with it. As her shuttle broke Earth's atmosphere, Mira watched the blue planet recede below her. She'd arrived 3 months ago, a haughty princess certain of her empire's superiority, confident in her mission to assess a primitive world. She was returning as something else entirely, a diplomat with a vision of a different future, carrying the most valuable treasure any royal could possess, the truth. In her private cabin, Mira opened the ancient book the Admiral had given her. She began to read, absorbing the wisdom of a civilization that had nearly destroyed itself before learning to harness its strength through restraint rather than dominance. By the time she reached Talon space, she had read the book 3 times and formed her plan. Her father would resist. Change came hard to emperors accustomed to conquest, but she had something no Talon diplomat had ever possessed before. Genuine respect for an adversary who had outmaneuvered them not through force, but through patience and strategic deception. The humans had taught her that true power lies not in what you display, but in what you keep hidden, and when you choose to reveal it. It was a lesson the Talon Empire needed to learn before they encountered something far worse than humans in the vast darkness between stars.